Yo, 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 yo.
Yo.
No Justin, no Peace here.
Yo, and I'm Lou Rivers.
And we are the Loose Cannons, because that's every week, and every week we sit down and we fire off our opinions on today's pop culture.
And what?
Politics.
What else?
Movies and TV and how they all intersect, baby. Do we have a good episode for you guys?
Yo, this social media, though.
Ooh, social media. Talking about social media. Listen, hit us up. Candace Podcast.
Where we at?
Instagram,
Where?
Facebook,
What else?
Twitter.
Yes.
Make sure you join the conversation, baby. Let's get into it in the thick. Jesus is King.
Yo.
Listen. Jesus is King came out, what was it, the 24th?
Yeah.
IMAX.
Yes.
You didn't get to see it.
No.
I saw it twice.
Yeah, you saw it once for me, baby.
Listen. I went. It was a 7:00 show, right?
Yeah.
Okay, if you guys don't know, Jesus is King IMAX is Kanye West's film that basically accompanied
taught me.
Yes, they accompanied the album. It came out before the album, actually. So I went there.
Yes.
It was packed before I even
Really?
that the day that I did like 4 nights in advance.
Yeah.
Maybe 4 or 5 nights in advance. I booked it. Packed already. Got my seat. It was over off into the corner. Boom. I got there. I could see who was going to see Yeezy. Mm-hmm. I seen people that had merch on.
Yeah.
All kinds of stuff. A lot of young people. I'm sitting down. I got there early, but I'm an old man, so I had to pee a couple of times.
Can't stand
Right?
you, yo.
So I had to pee. But I ran out. This is the thing. I thought to myself, I was like, yo, I need to be back here around exactly at 7. So I ran back out to go pee again. Came back in. I didn't get any snacks this time because I was like, it's a short film. Okay. So I ran back in. I hear music. So I'm running back in. People running in with me, blah, blah, blah. People still coming in. Everybody came late because I think they assumed there was going to be credits.
Right.
There's no trailers.
Starts, right?
No trailers. Just starts. Boom. Just sets off. Music goes on. I was looking around and seeing the average age of everybody. Mm-hmm. It was at least 10 years younger than I was.
Really?
All 20-year-olds.
Really?
Mad young kids.
That's not what I expected.
Mad young kids and a lot of white kids. A lot. Now, technically, if you were to say like, okay, let's gauge based off of the America and per capita, mm-hmm. It probably was representative of the country. Really? Because it was a mixture of people that were there. Right. It's just a lot more white people in America, obviously, right. So there's a lot of white kids. But everybody was young. Everybody would seem college age. Of course, there was some older people. Mm-hmm. Just a couple, though. Everybody seemed like they were in their 20s, under 25. Easy. I listened to the conversations as everything was over. One funny thing happened. A person did an outburst during one of the songs. They was like, "Scoopity poop." It was hilarious. But then they did it again. Yeah. And everybody was annoyed. Nobody responded until somebody later said, "Shut the fuck up." Because it was like, come on, dude. Like, you got your one laugh.
Right. That's all you need.
Leave it alone. We trying to enjoy it.
Right.
But I was listening to the conversations that were happening after it, because once you see it, it's Kanye. Okay. So if you were coming for, let's say like a Purple Rain or a Moonwalker, that's not what you were going to get. Right. You got a particular interesting piece of content. Plus I had to think about, these kids are young. Mm-hmm. My Twisted Dark Fantasy, how many years ago was that movie?
too long.
So let's say, I don't even know what year that was, guys, but let's say almost 10 years now?
Yeah.
Almost 10. So if these kids were in their 20s, 22, 25, they were 12, 15 when that came out. Yeah. So they don't even have a context for his content. Right. We seen that, and we already know what he was doing artistically, right, and that he was going to go somewhere extra. You know, and I think people just don't research before they sit down things. People were like, 35 minutes, that's it. It's like, it said it online. Right. It was 35 when you purchased the ticket.
You shocked?
It said 35 minutes long.
Right.
Boom. Like, and it was artistic. He shot it. It was like, it was beautiful in IMAX, but all the images were very interesting. They were very interesting and beautiful. But it wasn't like he was putting together a narrative. It wasn't a narrative. It was like, I'm presenting music and I'm presenting great, beautiful imagery. Okay. I got some pictures because I went the second time, right? So I was just sitting down in the lobby because I felt something after watching it. I was like, yo, this is an interesting experience. I just kind of want to chill with this right now and like ear hustle on some other people. So I was ear hustling on some other people. Then I heard a guy who was working there and he was like, yeah, there's another one at 8:05. I was like, yeah. Got him. Got him.
Gotcha, bitch.
So I went up, I used the bathroom again, and then I just did a little scoopity poop right into the theater again. This time I went to the back, all the way in the back at the top. I see that works, especially in this theater for IMAX, because IMAX is such a big experience. Right. Taking it in from the back is actually better. I was in the back, in the middle, and I was like, yo, this is great.
You
like,
catch all the visual cues from
everything. This is beautiful. And like, when you have somewhat of a film understanding like we do, like if you've watched 2001, if you've watched Moonlight, if you've watched Spike Lee movies, if you have those frame of references, then you know that an artist is going to, who's attempting to do something different and create a whole new experience that people haven't seen before. And that's what it was. And it's something I left, I'm like, yo, I want to own this. Right. I want to own this because every frame was like a beautiful picture. Did you see Last Black Man in San Francisco?
No.
I recently seen that on Redbox. I thought it was a horrible story. I didn't think that the script worked at all. Sorry. But the imagery was amazing. Some of the most beautiful images I've seen. I'm like, the images are poetry. Maybe it should have been a silent film because none of the other stuff worked for me. But I'm like, man, I got to watch this again because like the imagery is beautiful. And what Kanye and Nick Knight and those guys did with just like pulling in art pieces. His music is an art piece. Copying James Turrell and his art, building these structures and the round and how it brings in light, and using Nick Knight to film these pieces, and it seems like they were using natural light for most of it, just created something that was beautiful and in a way like poetic. And it was just a really, really great experience. But polarizing. Yeah. Polarizing. I mean, he's a polarizing figure. Then we fast forward to the album, because I didn't listen to the album because that came out on the 24th. The album comes out on the 25th. Right. Late. We just listened to the album together. Yeah. I've probably listened to the album maybe like 4 or 5 times now. All right. I took it in. What do you think about the album?
I mean, honestly, a lot of it reminded me of older Kanye. Like pre Yeezus, I would say. Yeah. Yeah. Like a lot of, very symbolic of his first couple albums. Yes. So it's definitely got the tunes, and obviously having tracks that combine a lot of culture as far as a lot of people are not like, oh, I'm gonna go get a gospel album. Yeah. But to know that you can affect hip hop fans and people who aren't quite there with some music that they would possibly throw in their rotation and possibly listen to. That's a great impact in itself. Yes. So I think that people have to kind of understand that like this will reach a whole lot more people than what a normal gospel album is, and regardless of whether you believe like other gospel albums are phenomenal and great.
Yeah.
Just imagine you're having a group of people who would never listen to gospel
ever.
To it. So I think that's the amazing part there.
But I think what this is the gateway, is the open door. So it's like people who had the stigma, who would never listen to gospel before, are now like possibly like maybe there is something to offer. I feel like listening to Kanye is the same way I felt like when I was listening to like Kirk Franklin or Fred Hammond or Marvin Sapp or Molly Music or a friend of mine, Marcus Aaron. Like, you hear that these sounds are the evolution, and I'm glad that we're here, because I have this conversation with my wife all the time. It's like, I mean, what is gospel music? Right. Like, what is hip hop? What is rap? What is country? The worlds end up having to collide because they were never separate from the beginning. You could say that there is a hip hop culture. So there's, a movement that goes with a certain type of music, and we like certain type of drums, so we utilize that more often and dress a certain way more often. And then country in the same, certain instruments and certain chords, so you utilize that more often. But then as the world grows and then people start to connect with each other, it's natural that they merge. But hip hop is that. Right. Hip hop has always been gospel. It's always been country. It's always been rock. It's always been blues. It's always been jazz, because hip hop is centered around taking those pieces from those great songs, that's where we have the sample from, taking those pieces from great R&B, taking those pieces from great classical music or rock music, and making it something new. So hip hop is about repurposing, making something that people didn't appreciate as much and making it better or improving upon it. And I think that's literally Kanye's doing one of the most hip hop things with gospel. Right. He's improving upon it. He's taking great gospel samples, introducing it to people, and then merging the world with a person who comes from a certain era, who comes from a certain taste. I mean, that's why I love his music, period. That's why this album, I feel the same way I felt when I heard 808s and Heartbreaks. Okay. And when I heard Yeezus, even though this album feels more familiar to things before it, right, I knew 808s and Heartbreaks was a world changer. Right. But it was super polarizing. Mm-hmm. People hated it. Yeah. Now, if you talk to people, they act like it was. It was always good. It was always good. That was considered the worst album of Kanye's. I loved it from the beginning. Right.
We had that conversation when it first came out.
Yeezus.
Yeah. Yep. Same thing.
Super polarizing. Yeah. We were into it. But I think one of the reasons we were into it is because we were into other things. Right. Like if you were listening to rock and roll, like I was listening to Lenny Kravitz before, I was listening to Jimi Hendrix, but I was listening to Cody Chestnut before I listened to the Yeezus album. Mm-hmm. So I understand that feeling and what he's trying to pull from, and all those things. So some people just have to catch up. Right. And I think this is going to be one of the catch-up albums. People are going to be early adopters on this. Right. Kanye stans are going to be early adopters on it, period. Right. And then there's going to be the people who start like, oh, wait, hold on. Somebody's going to play the song in the playlist. Mm-hmm. And they're going to be like, where's that from? That's from the Kanye album. That's from Jesus is King. And then some people just going to repel from it because they don't hear nothing about Jesus. Right.
I'm gonna tell you right now. You know what it kind of reminded me of when I first heard it, and like especially listening to the songs, and I'm just like, it reminded me of every DMX album and him having like the prayer, or having that one track where it was just like
it's the prayer the whole album.
Right, exactly. It's like having that, and you're just like, man, we were just talking about all this other stuff, and then he's got this one thing, and you'd be like, ooh, your grandma be like, what's that song that DMX had on there?
That might have been the only thing that would have made this album better. Yeah, if DMX was on it.
Oh.
That would have really
the prayer, like that first from It's Dark and Hell is Hot.
Ooh. That would have been crazy. But listen, listen. I actually I could literally say I love this album, but it works for me because I'm a hip hop head and I'm also a Christian who listens to gospel. So it's just like it just blends the worlds for me. But what I want to say to people who are like, I don't want to listen to gospel. I don't want to hear the content about Jesus and all that. You hear content that you don't agree with all the time.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you listen to music talking about things that you're not going to do yourself. So at the end of the day, if you're able to remove yourself from that, you should be able to do that with this.
Right. And appreciate the music.
Exactly. Period. Nobody's telling you go serve whoever you want to serve or serve nobody.
Right.
Serve God, serve French fries, whatever you want to serve. Like
serve them up.
Serve them up. Do whatever you want to do. Like, but at the end of the day, don't let that be a hindrance from you just listening to the music and hearing someone be excited about something and creating from that excitement and that newfound beauty. Because if somebody got with a new shorty with a fat ass, you'd be listening to that.
Right.
And that ass you don't get to touch.
Right.
So what's the difference?
Right. I challenge everybody who hasn't listened to it, go check it out.
Let us know check what you think. Jesus is King. Yes. Kanye West album.
Yeezy taught me.
It's better than Gay.
Oh, yay. Yeah, it's better than Gay. Yeah.
It's better than Gay.
It is.
You can see the difference of the person from, okay. So, all right. With everything that was going on in Kanye, you know what I do.
Yep.
You've been off of social, but I go into the deep dive.
I'm still off. I'm still blacked out, y'all. I have no clue what's happening.
We'll talk about it when you're done, or maybe next month we'll talk about your whole fast. Right. So I go in the deep dive. He did an interview with Zane Lowe. Yeah. He did an interview with Big Boy. Yeah. No interview with Charlamagne the God. I heard that was supposed to happen potentially. Wow. Great interview with Zane Lowe on Beats One on Apple Beats, and good interview with what's his name, Big Boy. Interesting things. Like in Kanye fashion, you talk to him for 2 hours. You're gonna have a lot of things that you love. Right. You're like, this is yes. Go ahead. Yeah. I feel so confident. Then it's like, what is he reading? Is he reading? Is he reading? But that's a person. Right. That's a person. And you know, what I find interesting is I think Kanye puts freedom above being accurate. Right. I don't agree with that. But that's his truth. Freedom for him is more important than being accurate. Freedom to say and be wrong is more important. He even says, he's like, you know, if you're always right, then you're taking a test. For some people, that's going to hit harder, and they're going to be like, yeah. For me, I felt the same way you felt when I first heard it, like, huh? Like, yeah, but no. Right. No, I still want to be corrected if I'm wrong. Right. You know, I want to learn the right thing if I'm wrong. Not right behavior. And I think that's what he gets stuck with. I think he gets stuck with the idea of, like, I have to behave a certain way. Right. It's like, no,
he gets stuck in the idea of political correctness.
Yes. Yeah. And that's such a dangerous word, because that's where people, they just stray away from it, as opposed to, like, you know, when you say hello, ma'am, and hello, sir, that's being politically correct also. Right. Those are good things. Right. That's respect. You want that for your parents. Right. You know what I mean? So it's like, political correctness is okay. Mm-hmm. It's okay. And it's okay to be brash sometimes too. Right. But I think what people are stuck on is the idea of, like, just like him, they're identifying a person being free. And I think that's what he identifies in Trump. Mm-hmm. Free to say whatever. But some things really shouldn't be said. Right. Like, there are things, and sometimes there's forums for it. Right. And certain people should be saying it. You know, I listen to my hip hop. I listen to hip hop. And I get explicit. You know, I listen to explicit hip hop. I want Snoop Dogg to tell me about gin and juice. Right. I don't want my pastor. Right. You know, it is okay for Snoop Dogg to talk about it. Right. And even if the pastor is drinking gin and juice, he has one, he doesn't get drunk, so what? But I don't want him talking about gin and juice. Right. So there are time and places for everything. Right. Just like sex is okay. Mm-hmm. Sex is totally okay. Your body is okay. Right. But I'm not walking through Target butt naked. but I can walk through my bedroom butt naked.
Yeah.
And my wife might whistle,
it may work out in your favor.
It may work out in my favor, but not at Target.
Right.
So time and a place, these things are accurate. There are societal things that box us in, but then there are just human things that we find okay, just in general.
I think the idea is that we have this whole thing. I don't believe in the absoluteness of things, and it's too tough to be like you have the freedom, to do something, and because it's the absoluteness of having that freedom, you don't really think about the consequences or the actions that come with that freedom.
Come on with it.
So it's just like there's so many things that go along with that freedom. It's not just freedom.
Yes,
and that's the whole thing. It's you have the responsibility to have that freedom, and to honor it so that you can make sure that other people maintain it.
That's it.
And that's the whole thing. It's not I'm holding someone to a higher standard. Like I would love to know your opinion.
Yes.
But like you said, there's always going to be a time and place for it. And that's the idea. It's just that one of the most important words I feel like people lose today and don't understand is tact. You have to be tactful with everything you do. So
it's not what you say. Sometimes it's how you say it.
Right. And it's just like if you don't realize that if you say something because of the freedom you have, there could be benefits to that freedom. Or there can be penalties to that freedom. And not saying that, oh, you're not entitled. No, you're entitled to that freedom. But you're also entitled to what comes with it.
That's right.
So I think that people lose out on that idea. Be tactful.
Be tactful, people. Be tactful. Be tactful. And go to our social media, Candace Podcast. Facebook, Instagram, everywhere. Twitter.
Like, share, comment, and subscribe.
That's right. That's right. All right. Also, with the Kanye topic, listen, he brought up, it was a specific point where he harps down, he said this multiple times, he doesn't like victimhood mentality.
Right.
That bothers me because I know what people are attempting to do when they say that. And, there's a thin line between love and hate. But then there's a thin line between you helping people and attempting to bolster your own ego. And I'll explain it. What I've found in most cases when people promote the idea of get out of that victimhood mentality, when they say that, what they're attempting to do really, when you peel back all the layers, is bolster their ability. They're bolstering the idea of I've overcame stuff.
Right.
I'm amazing. I'm an overcomer. I'm super strong. I'm super disciplined. All these things because that's what makes them feel better. It's not about the person who they're pretending to help.
Right.
Because you don't help a person by saying, don't be a victim.
Right.
You help a person by showing them a direction and directing them down a path of becoming better in themselves. Right. So I hear it all the time and it always gives me an adverse reaction because generally when people say that, it's not coming from a positive place. And I didn't feel the positive place with Kanye because I heard him, it's like echoing the same things you'll hear like Candace Owens say. You'll hear a lot of conservative black people say. You'll hear them use these hot button terms because it's used to negate everything that might have happened that was disgusting in the past.
Right.
Jim Crow, slavery, prison industrial complex, all of these horrible systems, crack cocaine, all these things that have destroyed communities legitimately by the hundreds of thousands and millions. And then their only thing to say is victimhood mentality. Right. No, some people are victims.
Right.
And it's like I'm looking at Kanye and I'm like, would you say that to Kim?
Right.
Would you say that to Kim, who was victimized, who was actually robbed at gunpoint in your apartment? Would you say, you know what, Kim, even though they came in with the gun, You can't live in that victimhood mentality. You wouldn't say that.
Right.
You would not turn to your wife and say that. So don't turn to any other people, no matter what color they are, and say that, because it's inaccurate. Because there's a time to be strong, and there's a time to allow a person to grieve and be weak. If it, at the moment, at the heat of the moment, there's no point in you yelling and bolstering your ego.
Right.
If you are attempting to help, like if a person was just raped, you don't tell them to walk it off. You put them on their back, and you on your back, and you carry them to the stretcher, and you work with them. And step by step, they get to reacclimate and be more comfortable with coming back out into society and feel safer. But you identify with the fact that they were a victim of a crime.
Right.
But doesn't mean they have to believe that they are victims.
Right.
They are not a victim, but they were a victim of a crime. So they are victims, but they are not victims. You understand what I'm saying? You are not the victim. Your circumstance
made you a victim.
And that's it.
I definitely understand what you're saying. My biggest thing is we live in a world where people like to consolidate words. So this whole idea of, I believe that just using the term victim is the hot button. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would never want to be like, because of you being a victim or because of the circumstances of being a victim. The whole thing is that if I'm trying to get you where you need help and to get you down that path, like I can't take no shortcuts. So trying to consolidate everything that I need to tell you and then just summarizing it into victimhood, like that's the whole thing where it's just like I'm kind of diminishing everything that I need to do, because your circumstances were not diminished. No one took no shortcuts because they laid it all out. You know what I mean? So that idea of, all right, well, we have to kind of get out of this victimhood mentality. No, don't tell me what I need to do.
Yeah.
Help me see it so that I can do it.
That's it.
And the whole thing is, I understand where people are just like, oh, well, people kind of don't want it or feel they can't do it. That means that you need to try even more to do what is necessary to get them out of that mental state.
That's it.
It has nothing to do, because the entire time that you see them as a victim, you're helping them see themselves as a victim. And that is the hole that they are trying to get out of. So the more you spend that time focusing on being a victim or trying to get out of being a victim, you've done caused a different problem you can't even focus on solving the issue at hand. So it's like, it's too tough, because by the time you finish and they're no longer looking at themselves as a victim, now you have to go back to A to start figuring out the solution to the actual problem that you have. And that's tough. So I don't know. It's a world.
It's no point. Like you said, like our attempt to simplify things is the danger. Our attempt to simplify our issue with race in our country is the danger. Our attempt to simplify policing in our country is a danger. Our attempt to simplify our finances down to people need jobs, minimum, everything, all of those things become dangerous when we're unwilling to have the complex conversations. And the complex conversations have to happen in long. They may have to happen at multiple times where people sit down and work through, let's focus on this. Why is this happening? This one thing. Oh, okay, how can we help this one thing? How does this affect this other thing? How does this affect this other thing? It does not come down to simple words like victimhood, liberal, conservative. All of those words don't even make sense to me anymore. They don't make sense because they don't even mean, like, conservative is supposed to be about freedom and freedom of choice, but they don't want the word liberal, because if you look up the word liberal, it's closer to the idea of freedom and freedom of choice. Like, if somebody says I'm conserving energy, they do not mean I'm just freely using energy. So, like, even the way we're using words and trying to, like, we got to stop and start reading dictionaries again.
But this is the whole thing. You notice how, like, so everything that you just said we have more conversations on the words that we use for these topics rather than the topics themselves. And that's the whole thing at the end of the day.
Socialism, capitalism. Yeah. That's socialist. That's capitalist. Take all the terms away. Take victimhood away. Take socialism away. Take capitalism away. What kind of system do you want? Not by name. What does the system do? Right. Who does it work for? Right. How does it work? Who does it benefit? If we can all agree there, we don't have to worry about the name. So whatever the system that comes for that meets most of those needs, that's the system that we should use.
Right. And that kind of takes us into our next topic, where
Trevor Noah
talking about politics
and talking about the use of Republicans
and Democrats, and the idea that we will focus on whoever our representative is.
That's it.
Instead of reviewing the policies. So instead of going, this is what's important, we'll follow this.
Yep.
We're going, this is our person, this is our guy, and we'll put all our eggs in that basket.
That's it.
Regardless of if he has all the policies we want or not.
Yep.
And it doesn't make sense, especially with how most democratic nations work. There are multiple parties and not just the two that we have.
Yeah.
America. I don't understand why people support the politician. You should be supporting your policies. You should say, this is what I need done in this country. This is what I want to see happen with education. This is what I want to see happen with low-income communities.
Not a particular political party, but
you shouldn't care.
You
shouldn't care if the politician gets taken down, because that's what happens is people get obsessed with the politician, and so it becomes a cult of personality. And now people don't know how to separate the person from the policies. And so if your politician gets taken down, you're like, no, they couldn't have done that. No, I don't accept it. Why? Because you're afraid that means now your policies have been undermined. Whereas if you have always said, I support these policies and I don't support... In fact, in America, I feel like people should swap the way they treat sports with the way they treat politics. I feel like people who treat sports in a really healthy manner. In sports, they go, this is my team. This is what we're about. If there's players who are doing some crazy shit that they don't agree with, they're not playing well, they're not, not passing the ball, not scoring, what do they say?
Fuck him.
Kick him out of the team.
That's right.
We need to kick that coach out, kick that player out. That's not what this team is about.
Yes.
But then with politics, people are like, no, we're just going to keep him. We're just, you know what I mean?
But that's the problem with America now, right? Because whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, you should care about the country. You should care about democracy, the Constitution. So that guy's not good for none of it.
Right. But the problem is you only have two parties in America.
Yeah.
Imagine if you only had two sports teams. People would kill each other. Whereas now you can team up. You can be like, yo, who are you? Celtics? Who are you? Heat? All right, we both hate the Lakers? Yeah, why not? But we can be friends. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think that's a healthier way to live in politics. I don't think there's two parties. I'm not going to lie to you. I think that's probably one of the biggest things that's going to divide and keep on dividing America is the idea that there are only two ideas of how to live life. There are not two ideas on anything. You guys have 17 types of cereal. You only got two political parties?
We have more than 17 types of cereal.
Exactly. And you got what, two political parties only?
There's others, but I feel like
but it's not real.
They're not going to really ever win anything.
It's going to create a system where you continuously go, what are you? I'm a Republican. I'm a Democrat. It's over. You don't go anywhere from there. I don't think you can go anywhere from there.
So this is one of his main things, where it's just like this is what we do, and this is kind of the thing that we're always going to go back and forth.
That's right.
It's not like we're out there and let's say even a family, like if so, it's always going to be mom said or father or pop said. But when you have that whole a village raises a child, you have grandma said this, so we may need to take some of what she said, or grandpa said this, or auntie said this. So now you're getting more ideas because it's so many different things. It's not just the two that you're going against.
Yes.
So it kind of, I definitely understand what he said. Obviously everyone will be able to see what he was translating in that.
And it puts you in an awkward position of fighting for something that you would not have fought for. Let's bring it back to 2016. 2016, I was Bernie all the way.
Right.
Bernie all the way. But then you get put in the position, once Bernie loses the primary, to be defending, even though you want to attempt to defend ideas and the potential of those ideas, you get pushed into defending Hillary Clinton.
Yes.
I'm not defending Hillary Clinton.
Right.
I was not on her side for the primary.
Right.
But at the end of the day, the ideas that were represented by the other side and the other politician were not representative of the ideas that I thought would benefit all of the country.
Right.
And you know what? And I think that that's where we have to be in politics. And I don't think we actually have that conversation. I truly believe there's some people who want to benefit the most amount of people in the country, and some people who want to benefit some people in the country.
Right.
It breaks down to that. What side are you on? I don't care if you think of Republican, liberal, Democrat, whatever. Do you want to benefit most of the people in the country? Do you want to benefit some people in the country? And then you can go down to every policy and see which one fits. See which one fits. When Andrew Yang is telling you, I want to give everyone $1,000 a month, how does that not benefit everybody in the country?
Right.
But when a person is telling you that I want to cut these particular programs, you know that that's only to the benefit of some people and to the detriment of others. When a person is telling you, I want to cut taxes, what does that mean? It does not benefit you, because we look at the direction of where they're cutting the taxes. They're cutting it in a particular way. They're cutting it for estate taxes. They're cutting it for certain things, capital gains, certain things you will never touch in your next 5 years. Maybe in your future 15, 20. But it will not affect you in those 5 years. So certain people are asking to benefit a smaller group, and other people want to benefit a larger group of people. And those are the conversations that we got to start having. And I don't even think we're on the same footing, because there's other people who just plain old lie. That goes back to terminology. We got to get down to the meaning of things, what we're looking for as a society, what are those things that fit those things, and we got to get to the truth of how they're going to affect us. We all talk about climate change. I was watching the Cheney, you seen Vice?
Yeah.
I was watching that movie. People don't even realize that there were marketing companies involved in the use of certain words. The use of certain words. Why we're talking about climate change over global warming? Because they think you're so dumb that your perception of words will impact how you even think about the actual truth and reality of a situation. And it's working for a lot of people. At the end of the day, everything that people are proposing that are going to stop the effects of climate change in the direction that we're going still would benefit us.
Right.
Going fully electric benefits the whole country. Going with wind power, going with solar power, all those things benefit the country and potentially will benefit your pockets. Because at the end of the day, it takes it out the hands of the people who are seeking to destroy other countries out of there and to chase after a limited resource.
Right.
The sun is not limited. And how are we going to get there? We have to put our effort into it. And I have to circle back around. The one thing that was great about the Kanye West interview is he specifically said, we have all these geniuses, people coming out of MIT, Harvard, all these different places, and they go work on social media. They go work for these social media companies and these companies that are looking to track how we think and about the things we want to buy and all those different things. Those are the biggest places they can go work for. Or they can go for a guy who's trying to send a rocket to Mars, whatever. He's sending a rocket to Mars for what right now? World hunger. Got a lot of hungry people. Got a lot of homeless people. All of these geniuses can literally come together and figure this out. It actually don't even take the geniuses to figure it out. We figured it out a long time ago. We just have to have the will to do it. And it requires money. And in order for the government to have the money to do it, where do we get it from? The government can't get a job.
Right.
Tax, baby.
Taxes. That is how the government gets its revenue. So when you're saying, I'm scared of my taxes going up, besides the fact that you want your taxes to be used accurately and for the right things, I'm down with that. But when you're saying you don't want your taxes to go up, you also don't want invention.
Right.
You don't. It's the same thing as a CEO saying, you know what, we need a better. It's like Tim Cook saying we need a better iPhone, but I'm not spending $1 on making it.
Yep.
You don't get a better iPhone. You don't get any new inventions in anything that you don't put money into.
Right.
So everybody stop. Are you thinking about yourself, or are you thinking about the we?
Right. And this takes us actually back to the politician, that we need them to actually use the funds properly. And we can.
Okay, we do need like a not a P&L, because that's profit and loss, but we need some type of statement, right? Everyone has to get it.
Yep. Where your funding is going.
Where it says exactly what taxes you pay.
Yep.
Exactly. Not
60% go to the military.
Yes. not your not your tax return, because that's, even though there's a section of it, but it needs to be federal. It needs to be a pie chart.
The bill.
Itemized bill.
Itemized bill.
Because some people are going to have to get slapped upside their head, because they're like, I don't want to spend money on welfare.
Right.
Where's your paper?
Right.
Because you're going to see that your paper only said $25.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Some people be like, you're $25 on welfare. Oh, sorry, you're in the poorhouse. Because we can accurately sit down and tell people where to go and where not to go. Right. Because some people have this convoluted idea of what they're paying and what they're not paying.
Think about if $200 of your taxes were federal, and $120 was going to the military, and then everything else was for everything else. You'd
be like, I understand why this is a problem.
Right.
We need to change this.
Yes.
Let's change it to $50 going to the military, and then split the rest of this, the other 70.
Because they're gonna be like, oh well, they're protecting us from what?
What?
I can't remember. What was
from what, guys? Right. It's so funny because this fear aspect is so dangerous. One of the worst atrocities that happened on our soil was 9/11. And that was 2000?
2001.
How many people, though?
Oh, 3,000.
3,000, right? Then we waged war into the sum of hundreds of thousands of civilians in those countries died. There's no comparison.
Right.
Hundreds of thousands. We in turn murdered hundreds of thousands of people. There's no justice there.
Right.
There's no justice there. And if you think that that's not going to leave a bitter taste in anybody over there's mouth.
Right.
We had to. No, we didn't.
Right.
We didn't have to do it. We did not have to do it. It's horrible. Every one of those lives was special.
Right.
And the families that lost their family member life, my heart goes out to you.
Everywhere.
But they did not receive that family member back.
Right.
Once they killed the 500,000 civilian over in another country. You understand what I'm saying? So we got to get out of this. They're keeping our freedoms. No, our freedoms are given to us by the documents that we create.
Right.
Our founding fathers put something together, a skeleton, and we're supposed to continue and improve upon it. And that's where our freedoms come from. Nobody wants to take your freedom.
Right.
No other country wants to come and stop your freedom.
Right.
We're out of that world.
Here to implement different government.
No. They're coming here because they want the freedom.
Right.
We can go on and on about this.
All right, where we at next?
How many dicks does it take to get All right, Tank.
That's going to be the title of this video too.
Tank or Taint, whatever we should call it.
He tanked. That's what he did.
Do you remember how it happened? Tank was on Lip Service, which is Angela Yee's podcast. It's a podcast about sex, sexuality. Cool. All right, I used to listen to it. And I guess they were having an argument about lying.
Right.
And he said, just because you lied twice doesn't make you a liar.
Right.
Which is very accurate.
Right.
But Angela Yee said, well, if you suck 2 dicks, does that make you gay? So she was trying to shut down his argument. Right. So he kept it going. He was like, no, it don't make you gay. Especially if you realize that you don't want to do it anymore.
Right.
Drove the internet crazy.
Went left.
They went Malik Yoba on his ass real quick. Gay. I knew it. I knew he was talking about men this whole time. Baby, I deserve that dick. That's what he was talking about. I knew it, Tank. I knew it. But does Tank have a point? Does he have a point? He expounded on it on the Breakfast Club.
Yeah. How many dicks do you have to suck?
And that's the problem with this. I don't know.
We got everything out the way. We promoted the album, the show. Now, how many dicks do you have to suck to be gay?
First, I don't know. First of all, this is the problem. She did this.
Okay, tell me. Break it down.
She did.
I only saw the edited version.
We were talking about lies.
Right. L'Oreal said that she was with this guy who was a liar.
Right.
And you said if you tell 2 lies, then you're not a liar.
Well, I was saying that he hasn't become a liar. He said he only lied twice about those 2 things. I said, so I'm not sure if he's a liar yet. He just felt a need to lie about those 2 things.
Was he lying about dick sucking?
And then Miss Angela says, well, what about if you suck a dick? I was like, well, how did we get here? Like, you could see my disposition. I didn't like where this was going.
So why didn't you stop it, Tank?
I don't know. I just started talking.
The thing about Tank is that Tank always want to prove his point, right?
I wanted to prove. I didn't want to back down.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Listen, we grew up in the 80s, 90s. We've had our heavy dose of toxic masculinity.
Yeah. Yes.
We're evolved individuals.
Right. I don't know. Look, honestly, I think we had this conversation also a while ago. Everybody wants to be categorized, and everybody needs to be categorized. People want to be accepted.
And they want to categorize other people.
Yes.
That's the weird thing. It's like, call yourself whatever.
Right.
But stop. Why you got to call other people anything?
Right. My biggest thing is this. It's like, I know what I like and what I don't like. And if you don't know and you come on to me and I say, yo.
No, thank you.
All right, cool. We can get back to normal.
That's right.
Regularly scheduled program. I don't need to know whether you bi. I don't need to know if you're gay. I don't even know if you used to be a woman. I'm not even thinking about it because it doesn't even concern me.
No.
But it seems to concern everybody else.
A lot of people on Twitter.
Everybody else want to know. And I mean, like, people do too much and not mind their damn business.
Mind your business.
Damn business.
Mind your business.
I don't understand.
Mind your business. Listen, okay. People come ring my doorbell all the time. They're like, "Sir, do you have an electric bill? We want to save you money by." No, thank you.
No, I'm good.
That's all you gotta say.
Right.
No, thank you. If a man came up to me and say, "Sir, I have a penis. Would you like to partake?" No, thank you.
I'm good.
Thank you.
Look.
No offense.
I'm straight.
Actually, is the opposite offense. I'm like, that nigga thought I looked good.
Flattering.
I'm just flattering.
I'm blushing under this brown skin.
Flattering, especially if he's like a gay dude that looked like Jesse Williams. I'm like, he can have anybody he wants.
And he wanted me.
He wanted me. He wanted Dolomite. Yeah. He wanted to rumble in the jungle deep.
Yo, I haven't told you about the first time that I was hit on by a dude. Oh my gosh. So, we live in New York.
Yeah.
I'm 42nd Street, right? I worked 42nd Street. I wasn't no streetwalker, but I worked on 42nd Street. Just about the Disney days when they started cleaning up.
Yep.
I worked at this Japanese fast food place. And all the guys worked in the kitchen.
Yep.
All the women worked at the front for the counter, I was going to be the first dude that they trained on the counter. I was like, yo.
There we go.
Nigga, we made it.
We made it.
So I got up there. I'm getting trained. And I remember, being helped. They taking the order. I'm kind of getting everything together.
Yep.
And it was like, oh, did you want anything else? And the guy goes, he's with his boyfriend. He goes,
wow.
Yeah, I know. He was like, I'll take this, and I'll take this, and I'll take him.
Wow.
And everybody who was working stopped. Like, it was like in the movie where, and everybody turned, and I was like, I know I'm the only dude up here. So I turned, I was like, oh, me?
Him.
You want some of this soup here? That's what you meant, sir? Yeah, but I was just like, all right, I'm in New York. That's exactly how I felt.
It's so funny how far along we've come, because in that story, I was like, he did that in front of his husband?
Yeah.
I'm not even thinking about him hitting on you. I'm like, in front of his husband?
And that was illegal then. So it was only his boyfriend.
That is true. That was only his boyfriend, and they was ready to party. Damn, they thought
I was gonna clock out.
They was.
You're right, guys.
You're right.
I'll be
You're
back.
right. Let me get some of these dumplings. Let me get some of these dumplings to get some of these dumplings.
Man, I was just like, ooh, okay. I was like, I guess anybody could get it out here. Like,
yo, listen. And you said no.
I said no.
And that was it.
Handed him his bag. Said, have a nice day, sir.
That was it.
Damn.
You handed him his sack.
Yeah.
I had to let that one fly. I'm sorry.
He didn't correct me on the pronoun. He was okay with me calling him sir. Like, that was it.
That's it. Listen, guys. I mean, granted, everybody has to evolve to this point. But a lot of the things we learned were horrific. A lot of the things we learned were wrong. You can't just fit in a mold. You don't have to label everything.
Right.
You just are who you are.
Right.
And if you want to wear a yellow banana bubble coat like Pharrell on the cover of GQ,
do it.
Go do it. Listen, we're going to put up the picture. The Pharrell picture is interesting. Yeah. Okay.
Chiquita bananas.
Bananas.
That's exactly what I thought.
Listen, but have people not seen Pharrell before? Like, he does interesting things.
I mean, they should have known when he came out with the Yosemite Sam hat
does
on.
Interesting things. But, I think if the picture wasn't next to, the new image of masculinity.
Right. Was that a yellow down goose dress?
It was a yellow. That was exactly that.
Okay. That's what I was just like. Nah, he's not wearing no bubble dress.
It was a bubble dress. Okay. It was a straight up bubble dress.
Right, my bad.
The image had the caption on the GQ said the new masculinity. Do we need new masculinity? Like, we can't. This is what we can't do. We can't say that masculinity is not any specific thing. It's fluid. And then say there's a new version of it. Right. Because if it was already fluid and if it was already everything, there can't be a new version of it because it already was.
Right.
So we live in a world where people don't want to be identified. There's nothing wrong with having labels, and there's nothing wrong with crossing over those labels also. Like, he had a bubble dress.
Right.
Okay.
Well, this is what I've come down to terms with. I'm getting old. We're getting old.
Yeah.
And there's two paths of old people. Mm-hmm. There's the old people who give too much of a shit. and then there's old people who don't give a shit.
That's us.
We are that. Because I'm sitting here like, all right, cool. I already know, I've realized that I've aged out of music. So, like, what is going to be nice and what kids like, it's just my turn to not like it. I accept it.
That's it.
And I hope that, I could get a tune every now and then. You give me the throwback at noon, something. Like, I'm going to take some of new songs.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like, if this magazine didn't say the new version of Lewis, it ain't not talking about me.
They're not talking about you.
I ain't worried.
They're not talking about you. They weren't talking about anybody.
Right.
They really weren't.
Let me see someone walk down the block with this. I don't care what it is. It ain't masculinity. It ain't femininity. Like, ain't nobody doing that.
It's hot.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
Yo.
First of all, they had to have a fan under that bubble dress because there's no way that he was all right under there. It looked too hot.
It was steamy.
First of all, it was steamy. Listen, I don't care what pictures the colors were dope, but ain't nobody wearing that shit, dog.
Right.
Ain't nobody coming. It wasn't even dope. Like, a bubble dress poncho.
Yo.
Whatever. Whatever.
Right.
I thought Jaden Smith joint was better when he did that Louis Vuitton campaign. At least I was like, that's a nice skirt.
Did they have the ASAP Rocky with the underwear all the way up? That one too?
Oh, I didn't see that one.
All right, maybe I'll send that to you.
Yo, listen, okay. At the end of the day, what is masculinity, dog? I don't know either.
Look. Do it matter?
Does it matter? Does it matter? Does it?
Nah.
Does it? So when we hold on to these things and these ideas, like,
they're not talking about my masculinity.
like we not in jail. No. So, like, it's not going to cost us our life.
Yeah.
who cares? I don't care what you think. No. Listen, at the end of the day, I don't care what you think.
Right.
But if you step to me, you gonna get these hands.
Yes.
You gonna get them.
Yeah, both of them.
You gonna get them.
I may use one twice.
Yes.
If I got to use the second one, you in deep trouble.
Exactly. You gonna get the hands.
Yeah.
You gonna get the dip slip.
If you can't take the I'm cool.
That's it. You gonna get these hands.
Right.
That's it.
I don't know. I mean, my biggest thing is, I think you better off showing your masculinity by being able to accept everything and everyone.
Everything.
Because you're so secure in your own masculinity. You ain't got to worry about anything else or anybody else. I don't care how much masculinity the next man has. That's it. Anyways.
All right. Listen, leave PHARRELL alone with his bubble dress. And
I'm going to cop one. I'm going to have a him,
okay,
though.
But we do have to answer.
With some shorts.
2 or 3. Like, how many dicks before? Like, I heard somebody say it depends on if you hit it multiple periods. Like, if it was like 2 in a month and then you were like, I'm done. But if it was like 2 at one segment of your life in high school, then you repeated it, then you went in college, then you search it.
Well, what if you had one? And you wasn't quite sure.
You wasn't quite sure.
You don't quite remember. You almost blacked out. So you did it like 2 months later. He was just like, nah. See, I thought it was.
I don't know if I hated it.
Oh,
that's why I go to Applebee's.
This is a question.
I don't remember disliking the food.
So this is the hood masculinity question because this happens all the time.
Yeah.
Women can be bi, but men cannot. How do you feel about that stupid?
It's so stupid. It's so stupid.
It is the dumbest thing.
Literally, it's stupid because there's only 2 parts that you can engage in on the body: penis and vagina.
Yes.
So if women can engage with penis and a vagina, men can also engage in penis and vagina.
You know me, I would love to throw in like so many questionable stipulations to like fuck with someone's head. Like, all right, so masculinity is one thing, and femininity is another thing.
Yep.
All right. But what if you don't like dicks?
What if you don't like dicks?
But you like men who
bodies,
have vaginas, who've already changed.
That's a whole nother world.
Right. Like, so what's that? Because it's feminine.
The point is
on a man.
Don't label anything.
That's what I
like. What you like. Actually, as a matter of fact, label yourself.
Right.
Nobody got to label you.
Right.
Why do people need to know what Tank is?
No clue.
I like his music.
I mean, did it sound like he was gay-ish? Like, did it sound like...
No, it sounded like a guy who was trying to hold on to...
Point. That's what I was going to say. He did that's the most masculine thing he did. He tried to hold his point and didn't realize where he was going.
As stupid as he sounded, he held his point.
He was like, nah, what if it was only 2 dicks?
Every man has done that. Every man has tried to hold on to a point
too much that you held it. It didn't even benefit you to get it. Like, he could have been right, and it would just...
It don't matter. It don't matter. Amongst women, too, that he had to be the one to hold on to.
It was point. Like he didn't want to ask for directions, so he drove off into the ocean. Like, all right, cool. Nah.
Man, yo, be free. Be who you want to be.
I'm free.
And leave people to be who they want to be. Mind your business. As long as they're not being who they want to be on you.
Right.
Like, don't bother me.
Look. I like my space. I don't care who it is. Yeah, everybody's gonna catch this masculinity.
Exactly. Not because you're gay.
Yeah.
But because you touched me.
Yeah.
That's it. That's a E.
Yep. Man. It could have been an unwanted boob. Like, excuse me.
That's it. I've never
had an unwanted boob. You're more tolerable of an
unwanted. Yeah, I'm probably like. No, but you know what? Every guy has had an unwanted dick touch if he's been to the barbershop.
Yeah. Oh my God.
You've had a dick on your arm before.
You're just like, let me get this line. Look, that's why I'm balled down. Like, I don't need no one to line up nothing.
Nothing.
You ain't got to line up nothing.
No, it's always, everybody's had a nut on their arm, a nut or two. It just happens. Listen, if you don't believe us, it's biology. It's how.
Look, I used to just try to go for the beard. I just come in. I don't even sit down. Just hold my jaw out. That's it. That's all you need.
Because the only choice is for the guy to kind of get his dick on your arm or to arch his butt out.
Right.
To get.
It's either that or he gonna mount you.
Or he gonna mount you and then roll around.
Yep. Y'all can just spin around. You just line.
I tell you right now, most men will take them out if they get a line up that sharp.
Yeah. Yo, you was with Ricky the Mount?
Ricky the Mount.
Yo, but them lines is scratched.
You got to do it.
Yo.
Ricky Mountain, everybody in South Boston.
Coming in free balling like.
Listen. Damn it. Okay. Leave him alone, guys. All right, listen.
Oh, that's a clip right there.
Last segment right here. Look. We didn't have nothing for last time, but we have something for this time.
Okay.
This week in racism. It's a complex thing because now it crosses, our religion talk and our race talk.
All right, cool.
So, Kirk Franklin.
Drop it down.
All my people say, stomp.
Yeah.
Everybody should understand that. Yeah. Kirk Franklin, great musician, great gospel musician. Doesn't sing, but creates music. So he won an award in 2016 at the Dove Awards.
Okay.
The Dove Awards gets shown on TBN, Turner Broadcasting Network. My grandma used to watch TBN all day, every day.
Really?
All day, every day.
God dang.
Boom. So Kirk Franklin wins the award in 2016. He gives a speech about police brutality and all of its effects. And as Christian people, we have to come and pray for our society to be better, and not for people to have all this racial prejudice and to move forward with God's love. It airs on TBN. They cut that shit out of speech.
Yo.
Kirk Franklin was like, what happened, guys? It's kind of crazy. TBN didn't say nothing to him. The Dove Awards people was like, sorry, it'll never happen again. He's like, all right, cool. I understand it. Turn the other cheek. Bam. 2019. Wins the same award. Gets up there. New atrocities in the world. Talks about Atiana Jefferson. He says we need to pray for her family. Pray for all the victims' families. Let's pray for the police officers' family too. Because, they're going through something. They're going to potentially lose somebody. That's still horrific. Well balanced. Goes up on TBN. They cut the shit out again.
Yo.
He's like, come on, guys. So he goes up on his social media. He's like,
they edited the African American experience. I'm not asking those in the gospel community to follow my decision. No, this is my personal choice to take a stand and hold responsible those in positions of power to acknowledge the issues in our separate communities that have existed from colonialism to Jim Crow. To many of the issues facing us today, I pray there will be a significant change from this hurtful experience. I look with anticipation for that day of healing, and I'm committed to contributing to that process. In the end, we will not remember the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends.
I'm out. I feel like quitting. I don't want to be involved in people who don't even respect who I am.
Right.
Being a gospel Christian black man and going through things in today's society, and I can't be involved in it. So until we get some reform, I'm not going to be involved in the show. I'm not going to be involved in TVN. It brings up an interesting conversation about racism and Christianity. We're both from New York, so I'm pretty sure we've heard the teachings of a number of people who would tell you, Christianity is for the white man, that was the religion they would use to control us, this, that, and the third. On the other hand, they don't want to talk about the slave Bibles and how there were large segments of the Bible that was taken out, that were given to the slaves. And what they were teaching to them was not the whole story. They cherry-picked a large portion to make them docile. So it wasn't about the religion. It was more so about what they were teaching them. But we look at Kanye West. We see what's going on with him and his faith run and how he's moving towards the conservative side. And so, for a very long time, politics, race, and religion have all been intertwined and separated. Black Christianity has not necessarily aligned with the right, because the right seem to be aligned with hate racism, but seem to love Jesus at the same time.
Right.
What's your take on it?
All right. Corporations want to make money, and they don't want to alienate their viewers.
They don't.
So I understand what they're doing. I don't agree with it, and I won't accept it.
Yeah.
But I don't watch them, so I can't really have an effect on them.
And everything you're saying is right if they were NBC, CBS, or MTV.
Ooh, I wish they were Disney.
But they take the stance as we are spreading the word of Christ.
Right.
So if you start to cherry pick the truth of Christ and how Christ is about love and us all coming together, you're now a part of that division. You're putting profits above what you say your motives are. So now are we looking at what your true motives are because you took it out, or are we?
This is the exact narrative that we're watching is the exact reason why a branch of religion breaks off a different branch.
Absolutely.
This is the exact reason.
Absolutely.
They'd be like, oh, well, this is everything that we do, this, that, and the other. But I have something else that I want to say.
Yes.
But you don't agree with it. So I would have to break off, take these teachings and add what I do want to add to it.
Yes.
So it's the whole, well, we're all Christians. We should all accept this. We should all do this. And we need to pray for everyone, regardless of who it may be, because that's what Christians do. Not just what we want to be.
Yes.
You know, so.
I think we all have to come together and realize that, especially in America, people were taught Christianity and they were taught racism in a lot of communities at the same time, simultaneously. Exactly. And they have not been able to really come to terms with the fact that the people who might have taught you something great has also taught you something bad.
Right.
And I said might have great because some people don't believe that Christianity is great. So might have taught you something great, have also taught you something hateful, harmful, and bad. Right. And we also have to realize that racism has never been reasonless.
Right.
The reasons may not be valid, but it's never been reasonless. Right. And I think it's so interesting because I heard someone, it was on social media, and the guy was like, he really believed, he was like, I have black friends, I grew up in this area, I'm not racist, I don't have hate in my heart. That has nothing to do with racism. Racism is not about hate in your heart. You do not have to hate people. You do not have to believe I can't be around any black people. That was the fictionalization of racism because white people and black people were always around each other, especially during slavery. They were partaking of each other's bodies during slavery, some by force and some by choice. All of these things were always happening. It was never about treat people truly ugly or non-desirable. It was about teaching other people that people are ugly, non-desirable, and dumb.
They're not human
or not human to perpetuate this cycle of racism and subjugation. So it's about who they taught that thing. And so that has always been about race. That's racism. Racism is about what you think about this particular, what you've been taught about the negatives about this particular group of people. It has nothing to do with hate. You may not hate them, but you believe that this is a part of these group of people. They are bad because they are this skin color. They are violent because they are this skin color. They are they want to rape women because they are this skin color. And that is racism. Hate is not racism. Hate is hate.
What if, now this is the whole thing, because I've done this before where I try to pay attention to racism without hate. Now, I feel like this is the most detrimental because people
see it all the time.
Because people will say like, oh, like you could easily tell when someone's being racist or this, that, and the other. I think that there's a lot of times where people don't notice that they're even racist.
They don't.
And this is the whole thing. It's just like, people can say like, oh, it's not about, it's about hate, it's about this, it's about that. It's not, because the whole thing is like, it's like being home, right? And you have a pet. Now, as much as you love your pet, you're never going to treat your pet like it's a human.
Never. You're never going to choose your pet over your daughter.
That is the one reason why love and hate sometimes have nothing to do with racism.
Nothing.
It's just the idea of how you see that person or those type of people.
You love that dog.
Right.
For being a dog.
Exactly.
But you're not me. You're not the humans.
And people have a hard time grasping that. The ones who see the hatred and racism will never see that is even more of a problem than the ones that you can see, because you can see like, oh, they're treating me kind or nicely or this, that, and the other, but that doesn't mean that it's fair.
No.
Or equal. And people have to kind of realize that, where it's more important, because we could remove the hate. And that means we can remove all these people, but what will we do about the people who don't hate but are still racist? And that'll be difficult, because their children are going to learn that, but I'm not racist because I don't hate.
Yeah.
But that's not this.
The thing is, like, the people who the racism has majority been perpetuated upon have never made the real statement of the hate.
Right.
I think it's always been people who are trying to say that they are not this. By saying, oh, it has to do with hate. Like, to your point, like, we see it all the time in schools. We see it all the time in schools where predominantly people of color go to school, and they may have a lot of non-people of color, like white teachers who are teaching there. And white teachers who are teaching there, they may literally come into the situation to potentially help. But they come with a bias of, I'm going to go help that community.
Right.
Which is different from a black teacher who came from that community, who's returning to their community. Right. Because they look at it as, I'm with my people and I'm teaching my people. People as in the community, not even the color in particular, because that community can have all types of people. And then people from the outside will come and say, I'm going to help them because they need me, who came from the outside, to help them. Right. And then because they are not familiar with the culture and the behavior and the language, they become threatened by a certain type of behavior that you or I may deal with in a certain way. A loud, rambunctious boy may mean nothing to us. Right. But a loud, rambunctious boy to a white woman from the suburbs may send her into a tizzy of fear. Right. And that tizzy of fear is multiplied because she is correlating it to what I've read in the newspaper, what I've seen on the television, what people have told me. That's racism without the hate. Right. Because the non-rambunctious boy, she has a great relationship with. Right. She's helping him after class. She's making sure that he can get out of this community and go to Harvard. Right. She has love and care for him. So it's not even about hate. It's about being unfamiliar and that unfamiliarity being backed up with bias that you were taught about an individual or a group of people, because now you're like, oh, this is sending me signs. These are signs that they told me about. They told me it'd be dangerous here. They said, oh, look, he's getting aggressive. Oh, I'm in danger. I'm in danger. No, you're not. He's just venting. He would never touch you. Right. He would never hurt you. He's just venting. So all those different things, because people don't experience a certain group of people or a certain experience of behavior. Let's take it to science. A psychiatrist is not going to be spooked by a person and how they act, because they're experiencing people with all sorts of trauma. Right. They're experiencing people with all sorts of different things. A person may come in and they're really aggressive and rambunctious, but a psychologist may say, oh, I see where this is coming from. I know they have a childhood trauma. They're not scared because they're dealing with people who society has deemed as crazy and all these different things. So their experiences have now create a certain level of understanding, which has nullified the fear.
Right. So back to the topic, what do you think that the situation can be rectified in any which way, or is the corporate idea too big a hurdle for the station to like, we really can't?
I think it can be rectified. It can be rectified, and it will be rectified by the people who are true believers. If TBN, true believer of Christ and believe, loving of all, they will go back and air it and actually put it on all their social media and say, we made a mistake, we took this out, and we want to make sure that this gets to everybody.
Right.
And we'll bring Kirk Franklin on to expound and have a whole segment about Christianity and race and how it all connects. They can rectify it easily.
That's the same thing I was going to say.
I truly believe that some of them don't want to rectify it because they truly are racist.
Right.
There are a lot of racists and Christians out there, and they're in the same body. Racist Christians are there. We look at these colleges like Liberty College that supports Trump, all these different things. They're raising these kids to believe that they are different.
Right.
They're raising them with this non-hateful racism. But that turns around, like, they go out into society and become lawyers, judges, doctors. I don't hate people, but somehow when they see you on the stand, they see a dangerous person. They have an image. What we have to do as a society, there is no image of a criminal. Right. We've got to shed all of that. There's no image of a criminal. And the better our society will be is if we say we're all racist. We are all racist. Fix us all. No one, all 333 million of us. Because at the end of the day, no matter who is perpetuated upon, we all have grown up under this guise, under this social programming. All of us, black, white, brown, everybody, all have grown up under this social programming and have created horrible prejudices in all of us. And to shed all of that, we all have to come to the throne and say, we all have a problem. Let's fix all of us. Right. All the police officers have a problem. Let's fix all of us. We don't need to cherry pick the bad people. Right. Fix everybody. Right. Day one, reset. This is how we're going to do it. This is why this was wrong. And if we do that, it's not that hard of a work. It's not that hard of a work. Learn to love each other. Absolutely. Learn to see the beauty in each other. Absolutely. See the beauty in all different forms. See the beauty in all different shapes and sizes.
I see it. Well,
that's it. We can fix it.
Hopefully we can one day.
We can fix it. If nobody else does, we're going to try to do it week by week.
You're right.
Great episode. Oh, yo. Larry King who?
Yo, you right.
Joe Rogan who? No, Joe Rogan's the fucking man. Yes. He did the Snowden. Did you hear the Snowden interview?
Yes. Yes.
Joe.
Yes. Awesome. Yeah.
Awesome.
But if you did already check out Joe Rogan, check out our podcast.
Listen, check out
a couple of our episodes.
The Loose Cannons podcast. We got to start doing interviews.
Yes.
What do you guys think?
Who?
Should we start doing interviews? Yeah. Should we include some new people?
Yeah. Who should we bother? All
Collaborations?
Year. 365 days a year, we should bother at least one artist.
That's right. What other Boston podcasts you guys might listen to you think we should collab with?
Yeah. We killing the Northeast. What up?
Hit us up. Cannons Podcast. Instagram.
Where else?
Facebook.
Where else?
Twitter. I'm No Justin No Peace.
And I'm Lou Rivers.
And we are the Loose Cannons Podcast because every week, we are firing off our opinions on today's pop culture.
What else?
Politics.
What else?
Movies and TV and how they all intersect. Yes. Another great one in the can. Listen later this week for the movie reviews, y'all.
Yes. What we doing?
Black and Blue.
And what else?
Dolomite.
Yes.
We out.
Peace.